Wheel of Fortune host Pat Sajak has snapped at the audience after a sweet couple came away from a tough bonus puzzle empty-handed. Tom and Greg stole the show on February 12's episode but did not nab the $40,000 bonus prize in a downer ending. Wheel of Fortune's Sweethearts Special Week, in celebration of Valentine's Day, sees various couples competing as teams. Tom and Greg, together almost 20 years, won out with $15,350. The clearly in sync couple confidently and sternly chose event as their bonus puzzle category. On they went with Pat, 77, while clutching a wild card wedge and accompanied by their respective sisters. The two-word puzzle was displayed and they picked a CMPO and had one more consonant available, given the special wedge. The couple whispered to each other, deliberating for quite a while before choosing a final Y. The Y paid off as the puzzle read, Y_R_Y_N_ET. But they guessed yearly bonnet, yearly benefit, which seemed like it was on the money, to no avail. Hey! The timer ran out and the puzzle revealed itself as yearly banquet. The couple looked less than thrilled as Pat revealed they lost out on an extra $40,000 and the audience booed. "I'm sorry, you were right there," the host said. Pat turned to the audience noticing the booing and yelled, "Hey! They're going to France and they got $15,000. Despite not acing the extra innings, puzzle fans were won over by Tom and Greg on social media. "I love this gay couple on Wheel of Fortune," one person posted. "They need their own game show," wrote another. "Ryan's ready. Pat is retiring at the end of season 41 in June 2024, marking the end of an era as Ryan Seacrest will begin hosting late this summer." Despite not acing the extra innings, puzzle fans were won over by Tom and Greg on social media. "I love this gay couple on Wheel of Fortune," one person posted. "They need their own game show," wrote another. "Ryan's ready. Pat is retiring at the end of season 41 in June 2024, marking the end of an era as Ryan Seacrest will begin hosting late this summer. He called Vanna the most amazing person, and said he's studied the rule book, attended tapings, and he just can't wait to start. I talked to them both about what's the best part of Wheel of Fortune," he said. "And, they say, it's the contestants every night winning cash and prizes. I mean, that's what it's all about." The studio lights on Wheel of Fortune gleamed brightly as a sweet young couple, Hannah and Ben, stood next to Pat Sajak, nervously holding hands. They were inches away from winning $40,000, and the tension in the air was palpable. Their families cheered from the audience, and Pat, ever the charming host, smiled encouragingly. The couple had made it through the regular rounds, spinning the wheel with a blend of luck and skill. They had managed to solve several puzzles, accumulating a nice sum along the way, but the big bonus round prize was within their reach now, if only they could solve the final puzzle. As the clock started ticking, the couple stared intently at the letters on the board. They had been given a couple of letters to help, but it was still a tricky phrase. Hannah whispered guesses to Ben as they both strained their minds, but as the final seconds ticked down, they didn't manage to come up with the correct answer. "Time's up," Pat announced, the disappointment evident in his voice. "Let's see what the answer was." When the solution appeared on the board, there was a collective groan from the audience. The answer was simple enough that many had guessed it, and the audience's disappointment began to bubble over, murmurs and murmurs building up. Then, a few boos began to echo from the back of the room. Hannah and Ben looked crestfallen, and Pat quickly sensed the discomfort growing in the room. He raised his hand gently, signaling to the audience to settle down, but the displeasure persisted. All right, let's take it easy," Pat said, his usual playful demeanor replaced by a more serious tone. He turned to face the audience directly, as though speaking to each person individually. "I get it, folks. You all wanted them to win just as much as I did, maybe even more," he said with a smile, a touch of humor sneaking into his voice. "But let's remember, it's a game, and they did a fantastic job." The couple exchanged a small, grateful smile as Pat defended them. Slowly, the audience's discontent began to quiet down, though there were still a few murmurs lingering in the air. "It's easy to sit out there and think, oh, I could solve that. Pat continued, but trust me, under these lights and with the pressure of the clock ticking down, it's not as simple as it looks. The crowd's grumbles faded into a collective, understanding silence, replaced by polite applause. Pat turned back to the couple, his reassuring smile reappearing. Hannah, Ben, you both played wonderfully. You had us on the edge of our seats every round, and I know your friends and family are immensely proud of you. He gestured to their cheering section in the audience, who responded with enthusiastic claps and whistles. Hannah gave Pat a grateful nod, fighting back tears. Thank you, Pat, she said softly. Ben squeezed her hand tighter and gave Pat a nod of thanks, adding, we still had the best time. Well, that's what it's all about, Pat said, giving them both a warm smile. You've had fun, we've had fun watching you, and I think you're both leaving here as winners in our book. He looked at the cameras and added, let's hear it for them one more time, folks. The audience broke into applause, louder and more heartfelt this time, their earlier disappointment transformed into genuine appreciation for the couple. Pat took a moment to let the applause wash over the studio, giving Hannah and Ben a chance to collect themselves. Once the applause died down, Pat leaned closer to the couple and, with a mischievous twinkle in his eye, said, now, I know that $40,000 would have been nice. But you're still going home with a little something. Hannah's eyes lit up as Pat revealed their total winnings from the previous rounds. Though it wasn't the grand prize, it was still a generous sum that would make a difference for the couple. The crowd cheered them on, this time with pure joy and support. As they exited the stage, Vanna White walked over to Pat, clearly impressed by how he'd handled the moment. She gave him a playful nudge. You've still got it, Pat, she said with a smile. Pat chuckled, shaking his head. Well, sometimes you just have to remind folks that it's all in good fun. We're here to celebrate everyone who steps on this stage. The show went to commercial, and Pat took a deep breath, feeling satisfied. He glanced back at the couple, who were now sharing laughs and hugs with their family, the disappointment of the missed prize fading quickly. When the cameras rolled again, Pat's voice filled with his familiar enthusiasm as he addressed the viewers at home.